My name is Toni Carlton. I'm originally from Vancouver Island. I'm Coast Salish from the Sooke Nation. Spent a lot of my time though growing up sort of all over BC and then in more northern BC as well. I'm in the First Nations Studies program here at UNBC and doing a master's degree. My undergraduate degree was in history. I actually did it here at UNBC, really focused on women's history, First Nations history, history of contact and colonization, incorporated a lot of First Nations studies, English, into the degree as well. And one of the reasons why I chose to do my graduate degree at UNBC was just the great experience I had being here, sort of the Indigenous knowledge that's woven through a lot of the courses, whether or not they're First Nations studies, and a real acceptance of Indigenous knowledge within the faculty in First Nations studies. I'd heard quite often through my undergrad degree, with it being in history, that I wasn't really sure what I would be able to do with it, that people, would question me on my ability to do something with a degree in history. I picked a degree in history because I was really interested in it. So I knew sort of as that degree was ending that I was probably going to have to do something more. Got introduced to First Nation studies sort of later in my undergraduate degree and really wanted to explore that more as I moved into graduate coursework. And had a really hard time sort of deciding what to do, and so I actually took a year between my undergraduate degree and my graduate degree and just took a variety of courses: anthropology, women's studies, environmental studies, trying to get a feel on what type of degree I wanted to do, and in the end decided a graduate degree was probably going to serve me the best. My research interests have actually varied. Since I've started, I actually started the program a year after I finished my undergraduate degree, so 2001 I guess, and then finished my coursework, had a baby, took some time off, and just recently came back to the program again. And so my interest in research had changed after having my daughter and being home with her. And so what I've started to focus my research interest on, and where I'm looking at within the program, is looking at Aboriginal women's experiences with breastfeeding, where they find supports, where they find barriers, how a history of colonization and contact has impacted the transmission of knowledge around breastfeeding and mothering and birthing in general. I hope I add to knowledge around Aboriginal women's bodies, the knowledge that they have of their own bodies and how they can impact the care and the medical support they receive when they want to receive it. What I found when I was working after coming back with my daughter is just some of the moms that I was working with just weren't feeling supported around breastfeeding, weren't accessing agencies that really understood the cultural implications of colonization and contact and residential schools and how that could impact their feelings of their own bodies. And so I'm hoping that I can impact some of the service organizations here to start looking at how they're delivering services to Aboriginal moms and their families to support breastfeeding and to have women engage in that breastfeeding relationship for as long as they want to. I think support from my band, especially for the first 2 years of my degree, definitely got me through. The support ended at 2 years. They were very clear about that. As with my undergraduate degree, I was able to extend it out a year to take 5 years to complete, but for a graduate degree, it was a 2-year limit. So once that ended, I had to be more creative with how I found money. So definitely applied for a lot more scholarships, bursaries, have had success every time that I've applied, which has been really nice. And then since coming to work here at the university, actually get tuition incentives and subsidization to be doing my coursework now, which is hugely helpful. I became aware during my undergraduate degree actually about the different opportunities that were available. I didn't access traditional scholarships during my undergraduate degree and really regretted that, but as I was finishing my undergraduate degree, I had an opportunity to compete for a scholarship called the As Prime Minister Awards. It has a different name now, but it was put on through Magna of Canada, and got a chance to go to Toronto, talk about my ideas for making Canada a better place, and won some money out of that. So I realized then that, it was a lot of work to put that application together, but it was worth it. So as I moved into my graduate degree, really talked to a lot of other students who were accessing awards already, what that looked like, and, realized what selection committees wanted to hear sort of, in regards to your goals and how to tailor your application to sort of meet the needs of whatever awards were out there. But the First Nations Center, I think, has been a huge support, not just in regards to the staff for the programming. I don't know that I've really, as a graduate student or even an undergraduate student, really accessed a lot of the different programming that was available, but just that sense of community that existed here, I think was a huge support, being able to sit down with my peers, with people in my program, with people in other programs, and sort of the commonality that Aboriginal students were having in their experiences in the classroom, no matter what program or department they were in, being able to sit down and flesh that out with people was a huge support. And I think too, having access to faculty who do make themselves a part of the First Nations Centre community was huge in getting me in the door for graduate studies and in keeping me going. Just having faculty members who want to be here, who want to help out, who take a real sort of mentorship role without being asked to. I think being here as a student with kids, as a mom, has been probably my biggest challenge, is just trying to find that time to balance what I'm doing with work, what I'm doing at home, and then what I'm doing, with my schooling. And, at times one has more priority over the other. Being here as a graduate student and being here as a staff member, I find times that I'm conflicted about who I am when I'm on campus, and really having a hard time making way for myself as a graduate student now that everyone knows me as a staff member has probably been the biggest challenge. Be passionate about what it is you want to do, and if you need a couple years or a year or a semester or two to figure out what it is that you want to get into as for your graduate work, I think that's okay. I think taking the time that you need to fully explore what your interests are will develop a foundation of passion and interest that will carry you through.